Hello and welcome to another daily devotion. As this week we talk about confession, being real and honest in doing so with God, naming what we've been. Well, sometimes you need somebody to kind of hit you in between the eyes, throw some cold water on you to realize just kind of what a jerk you've been. I remember I was in my freshman year of college, and freshman years of college can get kind of off the rails quickly as you're trying to figure out who you are, independent of your parents, living on your own. And about midway through the first year there, playing some basketball with the guys on my dorm, hanging out in town, some of the ladies, and this friend who was going to be my roommate my sophomore year. And one day, he comes into my doorway and he says, I think you better reopen that Bible you've got there, because you're always talking about how important God is to you, and that you wear this cross around your neck like you're his follower of Jesus, and yet I hear you use God's name in vain when we're playing ball, saying God, and I see how you've been interacting with some of these other people, and the way you're acting is not who you say you are. And I'll tell you, at first I was like, why, you son of a gun? First I was angry. Like, who do you think you are, coming to my room talking to me like that? And I was just hot. And then a second later I thought, you know what? You're being a good friend. You're holding me accountable. You're right. I have been a person who's not who I want to be. King David had a person like that. As he's watching another man's wife from the rooftop while he's supposed to be out leading the army. Yeah, guys, I got some things I got to do back home. Well, sorry for the play on words. And as he spots Bathsheba, he's like, who's she belong to? She's Uriah, your friend, your bodyguard, one of your trusty men who watches over you, who's made sure that you haven't been killed all these years that you've been on the run until you were king. Oh yeah, I know Uriah. Yeah, good guy. Bring her over here. And he sleeps with her. Some people characterize Bathsheba as kind of loose or a tart or things like that. She's got no say. He's the king. They have sent for her. She's got no options. When David finds out, she sends word that she's pregnant, because he's, just walk of shame, kicked her to the curb. Her husband is off fighting David's war, so David sends word to bring him home. And he says, as Uriah comes home, he sits down at a table with him, gives him a great meal, gets him drunk, and says, go home to your wife, because I'm sure you've been at the front. This guy has such integrity, sleeps at David's doorstep, refuses to go home, refuses to go see his wife. And David says, what are you, nuts? Go home. Guys would kill for this. He's like, I can't go home and enjoy my wife and pretend that my friends aren't giving their lives in war. What am I even doing here? David realizes, oh, geez, this guy's not going to be swayed. So he gives an order, a sealed order, to Uriah to be opened by the general alone. And what is the card that he gives Uriah to carry? It's an order that tells Joab, his general, to send Uriah, Bathsheba's husband, into battle on a suicide mission, running point at the walls where definitely they're going to send arrows and tar and stuff down on him. And he's going to be killed. And then he says, draw everybody back once the deed is done. He sends the guy with his own death order. Great friend. High integrity. Yeah, king after God's own heart. So Nathan, the prophet, comes. And he tells this story to David about a guy who's got a bunch of lambs, but sees a poor farmer with one prize sheep. And he's got these entourage of guests coming to stay at his house. And so instead of choosing from his nice lambs, he goes to the farmer, steals his prize lamb, and serves it up for his guests. And the poor farmer has nothing left. And he's broke and he's heartbroken. And David says, that's horrible. Who is this guy? Tell me, and we'll go bring him here right now, and I'll have him killed on the spot because he's a horrible human being. And Nathan says, you're that guy. Because that's exactly what you did to Uriah the Hittite. You could have had any woman in the kingdom, but you take one of your best friend's wives, and then you manipulate, deceive, and have him killed. What kind of man are you? Man, it is tough to have a good friend tell us the truth about what they're seeing versus what we say about our faith. I go to church every week. Yeah, you do. But you treat our coworker like an absolute jag. Ouch. So I ask you, brothers and sisters, who do you have in your life who will tell you the truth that you don't want to hear? Because we need those voices in our lives if they're going to keep us genuine and honest with who we are before God. A confession that is raw and sometimes at first really painful, but the more we think about it, really hits home. Food for thought as we travel this Lenten journey together.